Louisiana way. I said, roll on, big wheel, take me where my baby stays. When I get to New Orleans, everything gonna be alright. When I get to New Orleans, everything gonna be alright. See my New Orleans baby gonna rock and roll through the night. Yeah. She's fine and she's neat, and her name is Angeline. I said she's fine and she's neat, and her name is Angeline. She's my New Orleans baby. I said she's my Creole queen, yeah. I said the steamboat is rolling down Louisiana way. Said the steamboat is rolling down Louisiana way. I said roll on, big wheel, take me where my baby stays. Yeah. Steamboat is rolling, steamboat is rolling. Roll on, big wheel. Roll on, big wheel. Oh, thank you very much. My name is Simmonds, and let me tell you a little bit about myself if you have no idea who I am. I've been a band leader all my life, and the band I've led is a group called Savoy Brown. Anybody heard of Savoy Brown? Thank you. I formed the band back in 1965, and here I am now, looking at 40 years on the road next year. But I do have a solo career acoustic thing going, like this. And the band is still going strong, but what you're hearing now is me getting loose a little bit more freedom than with the band, and just enjoying things in a very casual way. So I have some solo CDs out. I have a new one out, and that's called Struck by Lightning. I'll get to that later on. But right now I'd like to sort of bring them both together and do the main title track from the first Savoy Brown album that I recorded in 1967. This was the title track of that album, but I'm going to do it in an acoustic version. It was an old Fred McDowell song that I rocked up, so now it's going back a little bit to as it used to be. And this is called Shake 'Em On Down. shoes on, baby, and your gown. Don't you know, mama, we're gonna shake 'em on down. Shake it, baby. Come on and shake 'em on down. I don't care, you can shake all night. What you got, mama, is out of sight. Shake it, baby. Shake 'em on down. Well, you're dressed now, mama, short and tight. What you got, baby, is out of sight. Shake it, baby. Come on and shake 'em on down. Make my supper, baby, make my bed. This white lightning's gone to my head. Shake it, baby. Shake 'em on down. I don't care, you can shake all night. What you got, mama, is out of sight. Shake it, baby. Shake 'em on down. Make my supper, baby, make my bed. This white lightning's gone to my head. Shake it, baby. Shake it on down. Shake it. Get your shoes on, baby, and your gown. Don't you know, mama, we're gonna shake 'em on down. Shake it, baby. Shake 'em on down. I don't care, you can shake all night. What you got, mama, is out of sight. Shake it, baby. Shake 'em on down. I like the way you shake it, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Shake it, baby. Shake it, baby. I like the way you shake it, baby. Shake it down. Shake 'em on down. Shake 'em on down. Shake 'em on down. Shake 'em on down. Ah, yes, indeed. I thought it was a bit early for me to start sort of cranking it out a little bit here, but I think it's a little bit too early for the guitars as well. Hold on. They're going madly out of tune. Although it really doesn't matter if your guitar is out of tune in the blues. Don't get me wrong. Because you can bend the strings anywhere you want and put them in tune. That's what my old keyboard player, Bob Hall, used to say to me. He said, because I used to be very worried about tuning back in the old days. I mean, we didn't have tuners when we started. And he used to tune to like an out-of-tune harmonica or something, you know. We'd be in Decca Studios making, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of records for this big record company. And we'd be in the storeroom with an old broken-up harmonica getting in tune, you know. You know, sometimes when I see the Beatles now on the Ed Sullivan Show, I can't help but notice these very thin guitar chords we all used to use back then were absolutely wrong guitar chords. There they are playing in front of millions of people on the TV show, plugged in with a guitar chord that you knew was going to break any minute. So, but that's all changed. Now we've got monster guitar cables. They're supposed to be guaranteed for like 1,000,000 years, you know. Anyway, I'm going to do a blues for you. Can I do a blues? I know it's a little bit early. Nowadays, well, you hear a lot of blues music, you hear a lot of all sorts of music, and all the lyrics are very upbeat nowadays, in the blues as well. But I grew up, when I was a 13-year-old kid, back in the early 60s, I liked listening to my blues down and dirty. All the blues back then were miserable, horrible, life was terrible. And somehow or other, it made me feel better. I don't know why. But maybe that's the thing with the blues. A sad song could sometimes have the sweetest feelings. This is a blues all about losing your woman, being mad at the whole world, hating every other woman in sight. A very miserable song. It's called Blues Like Midnight. Yes, you left me this morning, man. At midnight was turning day. I said she left me this morning, man. And the midnight was turning day. I didn't have the blues. To my good girl, she went away. Now I got the blues like midnight. I got the moon shining bright as day. I got the blues like midnight, man. I got the moon shining bright as day. I wish an old tornado would come and blow my blues away. Blow my blues away. One of these mornings, man, I'm sure gonna leave this lonesome town. One of these mornings, man, I'm sure this lonesome town. Cause these traveling women sure know how to keep a good man down. That's why I got the blues like midnight. I got the moon shining bright as day. I got the blues like midnight man. I got the moon shining bright as day. I wish an old tornado would come and blow my blues away. Come and blow my blues away. Come and blow my blues. Come and blow my blues. Come and blow my blues. Come and blow my blues away. Well, I try to get thoroughly miserable there. I don't know if it works at this lovely day. I have a new CD out. It's called Struck by Lightning. It's an acoustic CD, and I have an accompaniment from an acoustic band. So the stuff you're hearing today is a little bit different from on the record, but that's the beauty about acoustic music. You can turn it any way you want. Like right now, I'd like to do a song from the new record. Again, this is a slightly different version. But this is an old Elvis Presley song. And I grew up listening to Presley when I was a kid. People call me a blues rocker with Savoy Brown. But I think Presley was the first blues rocker, first white guy to really sing the blues, you know, and rock it up. And so I've always had a great affiliation for him. And I went to Gracelands in the 70s when he was still alive. And I wasn't invited, but I just showed up. There was nobody there. And there was a guard at the gate. And I said, well, I'm from England. I'm Kim Simmonds. He hadn't a clue who I was, but he was impressed that someone from England was going to go there. So he let me in. And I had my singer with me at the time, Jackie Linton, and we walked to the house. The family was actually there, which was a bit sort of strange. But we looked all around and sort of left. And that's what a bigger fan I am. So I'm a stalker, I guess you could say. But when I was 10 years old, my first band was a collection of the neighborhood kids, and we'd play Elvis Presley songs. Little did I know, but I was learning the blues from him. Here's a song written by Arthur Crudup. Presley recorded it on my new record, So Glad You're Mine. Long and tall, shaped like a cannonball. Every time she loved me, you can hear me scold. She cried, ooh-wee, I believe I'll change my mind. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. When my baby does what she does to me, I climb the highest mountain, dive in the deepest sea. She cried, ooh-wee, I believe I'll change my mind. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. like wine. When she kisses me, I get hot every time she cries, ooh-wee. I believe I'll change my mind. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. Towel, shaped like a cannonball. Every time she loves me, you can hear me squall. She cries, ooh-wee. I believe I'll change my mind. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. She said, I'm so glad I'm living. I cried, I'm so glad you're mine. Ye Elvis lives. Well, I'm going to do a lot of talking right now, and I hope it sort of comes across in this less than intimate environment, but that's the fun part about doing the acoustic stuff. I get to tell stories. Let me tell you one. When I first came over, typical of an English band back in the 60s, we were staying in Chicago. We were staying in Splendor at some hotel on the lake. But I wanted to see what the real blues club was all about. I'd read about them, grew up, reading about them in the magazines in England since I was a young kid. Since I was like 13 years old. I was 19, so I said, I'm going to go to a blues club down south side Chicago. I rented a car, drove down, got lost trying to find this blues club, and I stopped these cops. And I said, how do I get to this certain club? And they said, give me directions. And I went there. Again, I had one of the band guys with me. And we went to the club, parked right out front, so we thought, hey, this is a great thing. We walked in. Well, you've heard these stories before. It was like a Clint Eastwood movie. Wrong place, wrong time. Everything went quiet. And it was like, uh-oh. Of course, this was a very touchy time, 1968-69. And so things were a little threatening. At that point, the cops walked in, took us by the hand and escorted us out and said, we followed you, didn't think you'd ever go in, thought you'd just drive on by and look at the place, but of course we walked in. And but they dragged us out. It might have been something to do with the velvet pants we were wearing, and the hey down the back of our neck, I don't know. But that was a pretty hairy thing. That was my experience, my first blues club. But I went back the next tour, and I looked in the phone book because I wanted to meet one of my heroes, Willie Dixon. And there was his name in the phone book, so I called him up, introduced myself. He said, come on round. I didn't realize it was so easy to meet a god, And I went to his house, and he took me to his studio and played me a lot of songs. And I took one of them I was very familiar with from Coco Taylor and Howlin' Wolf. But I went back to England. I said to the band, "Hey guys, let's try this great party song that Willie's written," because it hadn't really done much at that point. So we went in the studio with Willie's blessing, with guitars that were in tune, so on. And the singer I had at the time was Dave Walker, and his current manager is passing out these sheets, and Dave's got a new record out. And this is one of Willie's old songs, great party song. It's called Wang Dang Doodle. Till automatic slim, razor toad and Jim, butcher knife toad and Finny, fair's talking in it. Tonight we're gonna pitch a bowl down to that Union Hole. We're gonna romp and trump till midnight, for some fight till daylight. Pitch a wang dang doodle, pitch a wang dang doodle, pitch a wang dang doodle all night long. All night long, all night long, all night long, all night long. Gonna pitch a wang dang doodle all night long. Tell Scooter, Prowl and Red, ever seen you dead.